Well, the result was what we expected. Tennessee, a lot more than Mississippi State, but boy, there is so much to unpack from this football game. Reaction, what it means moving forward to Georgia, that and so much more. Buckle up. It's Monday, Lockdown Vols.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, good Monday morning, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Vols, your home for Tennessee sports, Tennessee football, news, and entertainment. 30 minutes every single weekday morning when you wake up. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. You guys know that. Every day is your shows tomorrow, so go ahead and send in those questions, those comments, those concerns, @_Caner, at Locked On Vols. You can find me on Instagram as well. I'll do my best to answer those on tomorrow's show. Okay, this show is going to be a big one, and we couldn't do without our friends over at FanDuel Sportsbook, where you can start this season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to go ahead and get started today. Tennessee 33, Mississippi State 14. Tennessee wins convincingly when it's all said and done. It was ugly at times. It wasn't pretty at times, but Tennessee did what we thought it would do. But some big takeaways, notably the injury situation. You know, we're going to hit that right at the top here as we get going with this show. Scoring plays courtesy of the Vol Radio Network in segment number 2. Stats and Caner grades coming up. And then, of course, the rest of the week, guys, we're going to be looking full steam ahead to Georgia. What all this means facing the Bulldogs. If Tennessee has to play Georgia on the road with a backup quarterback in Gaston Moore, what will the keys be for Tennessee to win that football game with a different look, under center? All that's coming up later in the week, but hopefully that won't be the case. But that's kind of where we're going to get started here in segment number 1. Before we get into the greats and all the good things, the biggest storyline is Nico Iamaleava did not play in the second half. And, listen, at the time of this recording, I'm not a doctor. I am not making medical reports. There's been nothing officially been out there on Nico. We'll see what Josh Heupel says if he has any type of update. I bet that he won't on a Monday when he meets with the media. But after the game on Saturday, he did say that they anticipate Nico being ready to go for the game against Georgia. Now, that's all great, right? But, that's moments after a football game where your quarterback didn't play in the second half. And all I know is, guys, he did not come back out there was no noticeable injury when he was in the football game, okay? He did not come back out for the second half. He was not on the sideline. Wanted to stay away from lights. Wanted to stay away from loud noises. There's video of him walking from the Tennessee locker room onto the field over to the Letterman's Club room there, like towards the end of the game. He's got a towel over his head. Okay, so again, I'm painting a picture here for you, but I'm no doctor, so I'm not going to say anything. But it feels like it's one of those, of course, the TV broadcast ruled upper body injury. Same with Dante Thornton. It seems like it's going to be one of those where you need to watch the progress, evaluate as the week goes on, before we have a good inkling if he's going to be ready to go. So again, more on Nico's availability and what that means for the game at Georgia later in the week. But obviously, that's kind of all the information we have right now. Again, we'll see if Josh Heupel wants to say anything else on a Monday when he meets with the media, but that is obviously the biggest storyline of the football game. Tennessee was a pretty healthy football team entering the game. You look at the injury reports around the Southeastern Conference, and boy, you just sit there. I don't know about you guys, but I see there every single week, and I'm like, man, look at Tennessee's compared to this team. Look at Tennessee's compared to this team. Look at Tennessee's compared to this team. Sure, Jordan Thomas is going to be a starter for you. He hasn't played all year. Keenan Peely, your defensive captain, your best linebacker. Has Tennessee missed Keenan Peely the last 2 weeks in rush defense? Yeah. You're missing him. Tyree West was out the other day. Deshaun Bishop was out the other day. It's not been perfect. It never is. Football's a contact sport, but Tennessee's been a healthy football team, but Nico doesn't play the second half. Andre Carrick doesn't play the second half. Dylan Sampson leaves the football game for a little bit in the second quarter, comes back and plays the second half, and he looked fine, but obviously he was not feeling it 100%, and he was hurting after the game. He was. Dante Thornton goes out late in the third quarter. We'll see if Deshaun Bishop is ready to go and Tyree West is ready to go for Georgia. So, again, it's kind of like it all kind of came back and got you in one football game, and that's not what you want when you're a 23.5-point favorite. But, end of the day, Tennessee finds a way to win. Tennessee leans on Dylan Sampson, a career-high 149 yards, a career-high 30 attempts. He had 19 first-half rushing attempts. That is way too many in one half, in my opinion, but His 33-yard touchdown that we'll hear later in a moment, later in the show, courtesy of the Vol Radio Network, was huge. They leaned on the run game. Gaston Moore ran the offense, guys. That's the biggest thing that I think we should have confidence in is like a takeaway. The offense didn't change. Tennessee's leaned on the run for a lot in this football game. Can Gaston make all the throws that Nico can? Does Gaston have the athletic ability that Nico has? No. If he did, he might be playing. He might be the starter. You're a backup quarterback for a reason, but you're a guy that's been with Josh Heupel longer than Josh Heupel's been with Tennessee fans. He was at UCF. He followed Josh Heupel here. He's been the third-string quarterback for the last 3 seasons. He's the backup this year. Obviously, he's got a cannon on him, and Tennessee trusts him to throw the football down the field. He's got an arm. I mean, drawing those 3 pass interference calls, 2 of them back-to-back on one drive in the second half, that was big. So Gaston Moore can run this offense, and I thought that was a big takeaway, leaving that football game the other night. But obviously, you need and you want if you're going to be Georgia, in my opinion, you need Nico to be playing in this football game. The defense for the second straight week. The defense. We walk away saying, boy, that was not a good effort. And that's a testament to Tim Banks and that defensive group because they clearly did not play their best football. And I'll tell you where in just 1 second. Of course, you already know that. You watched the game. But you look up at the scoreboard, 14 points. Well, 10 straight games, Tennessee's defense, dating back to the Iowa and the Citrus Bowl, Tennessee's not allowed your opponent to score 20 points. Okay, 14 points. That's good any day of the week. You held Mississippi State to under 300 yards of total offense, 271. That's good any day of the week. You held Mississippi State to under 100 yards passing. You take that 10 times out of 10 times. You forced 3 turnovers. Okay? I mean, that's really, really good. Forced 2 turnovers, excuse me. That's really, really good. You held Mississippi State to a 3 of 13 clip on third downs. So the defense did what it's been doing all season long, yet gashed in the run game. 179 yards given up to Mississippi State on the ground. 169 a week ago to Kentucky. The last 2 games, Tennessee's given up nearly 400 yards on the ground, and that's not good because the previous, math here, guys, 6 games or whatever it was, Tennessee, I think, gave up like around 500 yards total on the ground all year long. The rush defense has not been good the last 2 weeks, and guys were misaligned. Guys did not hold gap integrity. Linebackers over pursued. Defensive backs took poor angles. I mean, it was the whole group, and that was bad. That was kind of a sour part of this football game outside of the injuries, but defense does its job yet again. Forces turnovers. You win the turnover battle. You hold an opponent to 14 points, under 300 yards. Still, I mean, again, the defense just continues to do what defense does. I thought Boo Carter played his best football game. He was really, really good in the punt return. More on that in segment 3. But, man, Tennessee defense, even on a bad day, is still good. And credit that group and credit Tim Banks and his staff. Offense, explosive. I'll start with the good. Explosive plays, that was great. In the previous 4 games against Arkansas, against Alabama, against Kentucky, and against Florida, Tennessee managed only 3 plays that exceeded 30 yards. In Tennessee's game against Mississippi State, Tennessee scored 3 touchdowns, all from 30 yards or more. What's one way to avoid red zone deficiencies that I'm going to get into in a moment? Don't get in the red zone. Just score. And Tennessee did that with Squirrel White on a 4th down seam right over the middle. Dante Thornton, where it was you turned it over, you had offensive drives stall twice inside the 10, okay? And I felt like Josh Heupel was like, you know what, enough's enough. We're going to take a shot. Nico makes an adjustment where he overthrew some guys earlier in the football game, makes an adjustment, underthrows. You saw Gaston do that in the second half as well. If you're going to miss, you underthrow to give your guy, number 1, a chance, number 2, a chance to draw a flag. And Dante Thornton waited on it, adjusted, got the football, scored from 73 yards out. That was awesome. Explosive plays returned, and that is fantastic. Of course, Tennessee ran the football well. Tennessee's a good running football team. That's no surprise. 4th straight year, over 2,000 yards rushing as a team. 4th straight year, a skill player for Tennessee's offense has exceeded 1,000 yards. 21, Cedric Tillman. 22, Jalen Hyatt. 23, Jalen Wright. And this year, Dylan Sampson. So that's awesome. But red zone. I wrote about this last week over at VolQuest.com, and we brought it on here this podcast, man. Tennessee is going to get beat in Athens or in college football playoff games or against good teams if they don't find a way to stop stalling out in the red zone. Officially, Tennessee was 3 of 6 in the red zone. Tennessee had legit 5 red zone opportunities because they need at the 5-yard line to end the game. I don't count that. Same thing, they need to end the game in the red zone last week against Kentucky. I don't count those. But in 5 red zone trips, you fumbled at the 7. Third straight game, Dylan Sampson's fumbled in the red zone. It's not great. And his fumble the other day, man, he was holding on to it, 2 hands. He went down to brace for contact. The defender just made a really, really good play. Hat tip to the defender. And Dylan Sampson was so frustrated because it's not like he was careless. He did it the right way. Goes over there and spikes his helmet on the sideline because he's so frustrated. Tennessee goes for it on 4th and 1. Dylan Sampson's not in the football game, whether it's they're keeping him out for a drive because he fumbled or, maybe a little bit of both. But also, guys, it's 2-1, 2-1, 2-1 in the first half. It's 2 to Sampson, 1 to the backup, 2 to Sampson, 1 to the backup, and then you ride Sampson for the most part in the second half. That's kind of the strategy they've been following in the run game the last couple of games, and it was the backup's turn. And Peyton Lewis was in there, and Peyton Lewis I thought had a pretty decent day, but stuffed at the goal line on 4th and 1 in the jumbo set for the first time this year, mind you. That didn't work, but if you bounced, you walk in. Experience is the best teacher. Peyton Lewis is going to learn from that, but again, it was ugly at times. It's frustrating with the red zone. They got to fix that out. But the explosive plays return, and that's great to see from this offense. The explosive plays return. You are running the football with authority, and you did it all 4 quarters this week, which is great. Offensive line continues to play better. Defense, again, you got gash in the run game. That's got to be corrected. It's been a bad 2-week stretch, but you hold an opponent to 2 touchdowns, under 300 yards of total offense. You win the turnover battle, and you dominate on 3rd downs. What more can you ask for? Tennessee got the win. Good. Tennessee got the win, even though it was ugly at times. Tennessee got the win, even though they had some injuries throughout the football game, and all that coming up here on the show and later on in the week. But most important thing is Tennessee is number 1 in the SEC standings here on a Monday morning. How about that? Tennessee is 8-1, 5-1 in SEC play, and we know what's coming up this weekend. We know what's happening in Athens between the hedges, and everything is still right in front of you if you are the Tennessee Volunteers. Scoring plays courtesy of the Vol Radio Networks coming up next as we continue on here on a Monday morning edition of Locked On Vols. Appreciate you guys being here. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook ad gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view the live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com today to join, and you can get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's at FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every single moment more with FanDuel. It's an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. It is America's #1 sportsbook. And I do want to tell you about our friends over at Team Ticker. Team Ticker, proud sponsor of the show, and it's a one-of-a-kind sports sign for college football fans. If you're watching on YouTube, you see it over my right shoulder, right up there. It's kind of far away, so you can't really see the screen, but it is a 1.5 by 2 foot wall sign featuring the Power T. You can see the Power T, and has a cool retro-looking LED display. The display is updated daily with fresh content such as countdown to the next game, schedule, standings, stats, news. It's a super fun way to stay engaged and stay connected to your favorite team. It's a combination of design that gives you an entertaining, creative way to display your team pride. Whether it's football, men's and women's basketball, baseball, soccer, softball, Team Ticker's got you covered. You never miss a game with that display sign. Countdown to the next game. Again, stats, news, all that and more. Top 25. You can control it all from a mobile app, Control Center, where you select what you want featured on your LED display. It's a nice little remote control. Plus, each sign is officially licensed, meeting high-quality standards and assembled by hand in the U.S. Team Ticker is the ultimate addition to your Tennessee sports collection. Once you hang it on your wall, it's going to be the talk of your fellow Tennessee fans. Order yours today, teamticker.com, teamticker.com. Put in the promo code Locked On at teamticker.com to receive $50 off your Team Ticker purchase. That's all there and more at teamticker.com, promo code Locked On. All right, guys, welcome back into your Monday morning edition of Locked On Vols. I am your host here on Locked On Vols, Eric Kane. Remember, mailbag questions @_Kane or at Locked On Vols. Find me on Instagram as well. I'll do my best, and you can put them on the YouTube channel too. I will do my best to answer as many as I can on tomorrow's show every day, as you know how it goes. Going to get into scoring plays courtesy of the Vol Radio Network here in just a moment, but I want to go back real quick and add another stat that I put in my column over at volquest.com yesterday. But I wanted to bring you here on the show. Talking about getting gash in the run game. Mississippi State tallied 7 rushes that exceeded 10 yards or more. On those carries, 7 rushes for 136 yards, including an 18-yard touchdown to Johnny Daniels there, the final touchdown of the game for Mississippi State, the second one. And they had a 43-yarder in the third quarter given up or ran by Davon Booth, the starting running back, who had a really, really good game. So, again, it's just the last 2 weeks Tennessee's been kind of sloppy in the rush defense. And, I mean, they were averaging giving up about 80 yards a game, somewhere around there, prior to last week. And, of course, that average has gone way up. So, Tennessee's got to fix that. Of course, you're not going to win in Athens if you're getting run all over. But, of course, more on that as we continue through the week. Leading up to Tennessee and Georgia, but Tennessee a 33-14 winner over Mississippi State, a team you were favored to win by 23.5. You weren't your best, clearly, on offense throughout 4 quarters. You weren't your best defense, but you beat an SEC, and I understand Mississippi State's not good, but you beat a Southeastern Conference team 33-14 playing your C game, C- game. That just goes to show you how good of a football team you are. So, how did it sound? Courtesy of the Vol Radio Network. For the first time since the Kent State game, yes, you heard that correctly. For the first time since the Kent State game in the second week of the year, back on September, the guys help me here, 14th, Tennessee scores on the opening offensive possession of the game. Tennessee was going to go for it on 4th down no matter what happened. Tennessee had a penalty, moved it back a little bit. Again, sidebar, these officials were just not very good the other night. Officiating has not been a strong suit this season. And I'm not one to harp on officials, but they had a rough day again yesterday. I thought they were worse against Kentucky, but they had a rough day yesterday. But 4th and 6, 34-yard looking in, goes up the seam. Nico to Squirrel White. Tennessee jumps on the board 7-0, just inside the first quarter. First possession of the football game. Here's how it sounded, courtesy of Bob Kessling and the Vol Radio Network.
Nico back to throw. Look.
Get your running back.
Fires long down the middle. The pass is caught. Touchdown, Tennessee. Beautiful throw. 34-yard Squirrel White. Went from the slot on the right side, right down the middle of the field, and Nico hit him right in stride in the checkerboards, and Tennessee has scored first and leads 6-0.
So Tennessee led 7-0 at the 11:44 mark of the first quarter. Got the football back. Dylan Sampson fumbles at the 7-yard line. He got the football back courtesy of a Boo Carter interception. Tennessee had the football at the 9. Tennessee is stuffed 4th and 1 in the jumbo set there at the 1-yard line, and Tennessee turns it over on down. So 2 drives to stall inside the 10-yard line. That is not great. But the defense did its job early on, right? First couple of possessions for Mississippi State: punt, interception I just referenced, punt. Well, Tennessee gets the football back finally after punting. After turning it over twice inside the 10, they punt, get the football back, start of the second quarter, and Josh Heupel, I feel like Josh Heupel's just frustrated. He's like, you know what? Enough's enough. Let's take a shot. Let's go score. And that's what Tennessee did. 73 yards. Nico Iamaleava to who else? The big play man, Dante Thornton.
Nico, a double wing formation with his 2 tight ends. Play fake. Nico winds up, bombs away. Down this near sideline. Dante Thornton catches the 20 to the 10. Crank up Rocky Top. Touchdown, Tennessee. 73 yards to Dante Thornton. Boy, I tell you what, he had to keep his eye on that ball as he was running and fighting down this near sideline with the defender, and finally was able to corral it and race all the way for a touchdown.
You know, a lot of times we harp saying, where's the adjustments? Where's the adjustments? I mean, I'm as bad as anybody. Trust me, man. That halftime at Arkansas, I'm like, the fact that this team made no halftime adjustments is beyond me. By the way, that feels like forever ago, right? That was an adjustment right there from Nico. Was it his best throw? No, he underthrew it. But he'd already overthrown a guy for a wide open touchdown. He already overshot Squirrel White on a hitch for a first down or something. So he was doing fine. I don't think he was having a bad game, but he had a couple of misses. And Nico takes something off, throws it up to his guy, just say, hey, go make a play. Go make a play. And he underthrew it, allowed Dante to sit there and wait on it. The defender gets caught up and all that and falls down. Dante grabs it, goes and scores. I thought that was great because, again, like I mentioned earlier, Gaston Moore underthrew one specifically down the field to Squirrel White, and he held up on it and drew the interference call. The other one on the back-to-back play, the guy was interfering with Brew McCoy too. But nonetheless, if you're going to miss, underthrow to give your guy, if you're on one-on-one coverage, give your guy a chance. And that's what we saw there, and I thought that was a pretty good adjustment there from Nico. So it was good. Explosive play. The second touchdown via the explosives in this football game, Tennessee led 14-0. Well, Mississippi State takes it 75 yards on 16 plays, taking 7:48 off the clock to find the end zone. 14-7 is the score at the 5:47 mark of the second quarter. Well, this goes on a run of three straight Max Gilbert field goals. We know the story of Max Gilbert. Last week he was 0 for 3. He had missed 5 of his last 6 entering the football game. And Josh Heupel said, I've got all the confidence in the world in him, said all the right things, but we need to see that, right? We need to see him go out there and make some kicks. Well, Max Gilbert got his mojo back. He is good from 24 yards at the 46-second mark of the second quarter, okay, under a minute. He's good for 24 yards. On that possession, Jeff Lebby calls timeouts, trying to, with a smart play, trying to save as much time for him and his offense to try to make a run at. You see Josh Heupel do that all the time. I mean, those two guys have coached together and taught each other a lot of things. So Gilbert makes good of his field goal. Great. Kicks off. Mississippi State goes incompletion, and then runs out of bounds to stop the clock. Hella dumb mistake, okay? Punts the football to Tennessee. Boo Carter, more on him in segment number 3, but 23-yard punt return past the 50, setting up Tennessee with a prime opportunity to take a shot to try to get some points. 14 seconds on the clock. They run 2 timeouts. They run it with Cam Seldon. More on Cam Seldon later in the week. I know a lot of people got questions on him. Ask me about Cam Seldon tomorrow. We'll talk more Cam Seldon. 5 yards. Okay, timeout. All right. Squirrel White, knowledgeable, gets out of bounds as well, down to the Mississippi State, whatever it was. And then a 38-yarder as time expires in the first half. And Gilbert is jacked up. He is pumped up. If you want to know how much this game meant to Max Gilbert, watch his reaction to that 38-yarder as time expired. He was jacked up. You'll see a picture of it here in a moment. And then later on in the third quarter, he makes from 51 yards a career high, and the first Tennessee kicker to make a 50-yarder or more since 2021, Chase McGrath. The second time that's happened under Josh Heupel. So here's a collage of those 3 field goals. I'm not going to play the fourth one later on in the game. It was 38 yards as well. But he was 4 for 4 on the day. Here's the 3 field goals that took the score from Tennessee leading 14-7 to Tennessee leading 23-7 with the 6:22 mark of the third quarter.
This will be a 24-yard attempt from the right hash mark. Waiting for the snap. There it is. The kick on the way, and that kick is good. So Max Gilbert tacks on 3 more. This will be from the 28-yard line. This will be a 38-yard attempt. 13 out of 19 on the season. And Max Gilbert lines it up. Snap down, kick on the way. The kick spinning to the uprights, and Gilbert's 2 for 2 as he boots through that field goal. Jackson Ross will hold it. Matthew Solansky to snap it. Snap down, the kick on the way, got plenty of leg, and it is good. The kick is good by Max Gilbert. 51 yards, a career high, as Tennessee now leads Mississippi State 23-7.
Congrats to Max Gilbert. That's awesome. I'm so glad he had a good day yesterday because, man, he was struggling last week. Of course, we knew about that. Mississippi State scores a little over a minute after that final field goal from Gilbert there in that 3-run stretch. 18-yard touchdown from Johnny Daniels. I highlighted that earlier in the game, earlier in the show. So it was 23-14. So cut it within 9. That is the last touchdown that State would score in the football game. Dylan Sampson, who clearly was not 100%, ran behind that big, bulky veteran offensive line. Javonte Spraggins giving it all he could. Cooper Mays folding around, getting to the second level. And Dylan Sampson cuts it back, scoring from 33 yards out. His 20th touchdown of the season. Again, this is after he exited the game. Well, it looked like a pretty gross-looking ankle injury earlier in the second quarter.
Gaston Moore, double wing this time. Tennessee's just running the ball. Sampson takes off around the left side, cuts it back. Nice cut. Gets to the 20, to the 10, to the 5, to the checkerboards. Touchdown, Dylan Sampson, 33 yards. The heart and soul of this Tennessee offense scores again. 33 yards out, his 20th rushing touchdown of the season as Tennessee jumps in front now, 29-14.
Obviously, you're just kind of at a loss for words with what Dylan Sampson has given this offense so far this season, man. I mean, what a performance. A career day for him, literally, in terms of the stats. Another 100-plus yard rushing performance, SEC leader in rushing. Just fantastic. We'll come back. We'll finish off this Monday morning edition with some stats and some Caner grades. All that and more as we continue on here, again, with your Monday morning edition of Locked On Vols. Stay tuned. Hey guys, I want to see about my friends over at Game Time. All right, Game Time's an app to where you can buy tickets to events in your area. It can be sporting events, can be entertainment events, can be concerts, can be anything that requires a ticket in your area. You can buy tickets to that event on the Game Time app, and they got the best customer service policy in the ticketing industry. They've got Game Time picks to where you can filter through all the fluff and only find incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands and thousands of tickets. My favorite thing is they got the lowest price guaranteed, so Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if you find a cheaper ticket somewhere else on another app in the same section. These incredible perks on the Game Time app, and so this winter, Thompson-Boling Arena, Food City Center, Tennessee basketball had a huge win over Louisville on Saturday. Trust me, we'll talk Tennessee hoops this week. Lady Vols are in action. What a fun, fast-paced basketball team to watch from Kim Caldwell. Baseball coming up this spring. Fall ball just ended yesterday. All that and more. You can buy tickets on the Game Time app to see your Volunteers play. Download the Game Time app, create an account, put in the promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. It's your Monday morning, Locked On Vols. We're looking back at Tennessee's win, 33-14 over Mississippi State. Tennessee jumped up to number 6 in the Associated Press Poll, the number 4 in the Coaches Poll this week. Of course, the next ranking, which is the real rankings that actually matter for the college football playoffs, will come out tomorrow night, Tuesday. Tennessee was ranked 7th, seeded 8th, and we'll see where Tennessee moves. I mean, it's going to be interesting. Of course, Georgia's going to move down. Miami's going to move down. Alabama's going to move. Everybody and their mother loves Alabama right now. Alabama's stock has never been higher, baby. Alabama, crown them, right? Crown them. I mean, that was an impressive win in Baton Rouge at night. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Jalen Milroe ran for 4 touchdowns, but everybody loves them some Alabama Crimson Tide right now. In fact, I heard on SEC Nation, I forgot who said it. I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but somebody on SEC Nation said that Alabama could get in with 3 losses. And then 2 minutes later, Roman Harper said this 2 minutes later about Tennessee. Tennessee probably needs to go 11-1. What? What? Come again, Big Fudge? What are you talking about? Again, that type of drama Tuesday night, the next reveal of the college football playoff rankings. Again, second straight week, man. Tennessee's offense had no issue moving the football. With as bad as Mississippi State's defense is, good. You better move the football. Tennessee had 452 yards as total offense, so knocking on the door to 500, but 452. Tennessee ran 78 plays, 5.8 yards a play. Not bad. Tennessee possessed the football for 34 minutes, outpossessed Mississippi State that runs a very similar offense. Tennessee was 5 of 14 on third downs offensively. Okay, not horrible, but needs to be better. But again, red zone, 3 of 6, technically 3 of 5, no touchdowns. That has just got to get better. Tennessee threw for 212 yards combined between Gaston Moore and, of course, Nico. Tennessee ran for 240, as you should, against Mississippi State that gives up, on average, 211 yards on the ground. Defensively, again, held Mississippi State to 14 points, 271 yards as total offense. They were 3 of 13 on third downs. In the red zone, they were 2 of 3, did score 2 touchdowns. Passing 92 yards, rushing 179, which is not great at all. But overall, a solid effort from the defense, with the exception of getting gashed in the run game. All right. Nico, again, I didn't think that it was his best start, but he was not bad. He made some adjustments. He made a couple of nice throws, threw 2 touchdowns. I thought he was on his way to a pretty decent ball game. He does not come out and play in the second half. And again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to diagnose him on here. There's not been an official report. I'll leave that to what Josh Heupel will say on Monday. But again, didn't come back out. I'll only say this: didn't come back out. Obviously, loud noises, a lot of lights. Stayed in the locker room. When he came out after the game, he had a towel over his head. So again, and they described it as an upper body injury. So let's use our imaginations here. And we'll see how he is throughout the week. Obviously, Tennessee wants to get Nico back in this football game against Georgia. He was 8 of 13, 174, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Gaston Moore, who I thought came in, they got all the confidence in the world in him to throw that football clearly. I've loved all the memes that I've seen on Sunday morning about, Gaston just don't care, going to chuck it. There's some funny ones out there, and I think it's hilarious. And Gaston, as he should, carries himself with so much confidence because he is a graduate level instructor of this offense. He has been here, done that. Of course, he's not been the guy ever, but in terms of running this offense, he should have a whole lot of confidence. And if you need to come in and win a football game, he was spotted 13 points. I recognize that. Need to come in and win the football game, move the sticks a little bit. Gaston Moore did fine. He did what he was supposed to do on Saturday. Now, if Gaston Moore's under center, taking that shotgun snap for 4 quarters in Athens, that is a different story. And if we need to talk about that later in the week, we will talk about that later in the week. But I thought Gaston Moore did a fine job. Quarterbacks, I'm going to give you a B+. Thought you were solid. Thought it was a solid day from the quarterbacks. Couple of misses. Thought it was solid. Running backs, I'm going to get a B. And tough grader here. Tough grader alert. Running backs are going to get a B only because Sampson fumbled at the 7. We can't forget that. And because Peyton Lewis, experience is your best friend. You'll learn from this. Bounce. You bounce to the outside. Miles Kitzel missed that block, but you bounce to the outside. You walk in. It's a score. Dylan Sampson, career day again. Goodness gracious. 30 carries, 149 yards, touchdown. Up to 20 touchdowns on the year. He was hurting after the game. He was hurting as he should. But, man, what heart, what grit. Can't say enough about Dylan Sampson, man. And Cam Seldon, he got in there, 6 carries, had 26 yards. Intrigued to see kind of what his role is moving forward. Again, I'll talk Cam Seldon tomorrow. I'm sure some of you guys will ask about that in the mailbag portion of that show. So running backs going to get a B. Wide receivers, I thought wide receivers had a pretty nice bounce back game. I thought the wide receivers hurt Tennessee a little bit the last 2 weeks. I thought Dante Thornton played a great game. I thought Squirrel White played a better game. Chris Brazzell, I thought, showed up a little bit. Still very inconsistent. Brew McCoy was not a big factor in this game, and I would use Brew McCoy in the red zone. Throw a slant to Brew in the red zone. He's your most physical receiver. Tennessee lived in 12 personnel. Why? Well, because you don't have a whole lot of confidence in your wideouts right now, specifically the slots. Tennessee lived in 12 personnel. Holden Stays played 63 snaps. Miles Kitzelman played 64 snaps. Ethan Davis played 20 snaps. Tennessee's base the other night was 12 personnel. Excuse me. They're a better 12 personnel football team right now, especially running the football and throwing the football. Tight ends, I will give you an A because you ran for 240 yards, though didn't have a focus in the passing game much in this game compared to the game plan last week. So tight ends will get an A. Wide receivers will get I'll give the wide receivers. I mean, unless I'm just misremembering something, I don't think there was any drops. They drew a couple flags. I'll give the receivers an A. I thought the receivers did a fine job the other day. This is what happens when I don't write things down before I get on the air. I should have wrote all this down in terms of what I was going to sign. Offensive line, you ran for 240 yards. You had near 500 yards total offense. You had 1 turnover, but that was not your fault. You didn't give up any sacks. Offensive line continues to get better. And you were playing, Spraggins was in and out of the lineup. Carrick didn't play the second half. Of course, we know Dane splits time with John Campbell. Lance Hurd played 84 snaps. Cooper Mays played 84 snaps. Good for those guys. Offensive line gets an A. I thought the offensive line did a fine job. Defensive line, it's tough, man. 4 sacks from the defensive line. How many TFLs? I think 4 TFLs from the defensive line alone. Maybe 5 TFLs. I'm not going to add those up right now because I'm bad at math in real time. But misaligned, got gashed. And it's not just the linebackers, man. That center from Mississippi State, he had his way with Tennessee's, Jackson Moy and I think Amari Thomas at one point in time, maybe Bryce and Easton. Like that center was pretty good for Mississippi State. He had a good day. But too many times you were not holding your gaps. And that's why it opened up some of those explosives in the run game for Mississippi State. 4 sacks, though, that is good. A couple of TFLs. I'll give the defensive line a C- because Rodney Gardner would give him an F. But they can play so much. They have played so much better. Linebackers are going to get a D in my opinion. Did not think the linebackers had a good day. There was one on the touchdown run to Johnny Daniels there in the third quarter. I don't know if he saw something on film to where he was trying to cheat over there. I don't know if he was taking a risk. I don't know what Aaron Carter was doing on that touchdown run, because when the ball snapped, he takes out to the flat, and that opens up the middle of the field, and they hand it off, and they go score. I have no clue what that was. Again, I'm not a coach. I am assuming he saw something on tape, and he cheated that way. He took a risk, and the risk didn't pay off. That was his bad mess up of the game. I thought T. Lander was slow to cover gaps at times. I thought Jalen Smith was slow to cover gaps at times. They played a light box sometimes. They went dime one series where they had two nickels on the field and one linebacker did Tennessee. But overall, poor angles, couple of missed tackles. Again, gap integrity not great. So linebackers are going to get a D. Defensive backs held them to under 100 yards passing. I thought the corners were pretty good. I thought the safeties missed, had some bad angles at times, but I thought the defensive backfield overall was pretty decent. So I'll give that a B. I'll give the defensive backfield a B. Special teams, A++++. Max Gilbert, welcome back, buddy. So glad to see him break out of his slump. That was great to see. 4 for 4, a career-long 51-yarder, 2 38s, and a 24. Two field goal makes in the span of 46 seconds after missing 5 of his last 6. I thought Jackson Ross holding for all those. I thought Jackson Ross, he averaged 46 yards per punt. He had one that was 49. I thought Jackson Ross did a good job. I thought Tennessee's coverage units did a good job. Kick return, I thought was pretty good. William Bright went back and caught one and returned to 26 yards. Peyton Lewis had one of 31 yards. And then Boo Carter. If anybody else returns a punt this year that's not Boo Carter, unless he's hurt, then there's an issue there. There were a couple where he should have had a fair catch. But he, along with Jeff Levy and Tennessee's defense, stole Tennessee, and Max Gilbert stole Tennessee three points there before the half with a 23-yard punt return to the other side of the 50. He saved Tennessee 20 yards once on a ball that was rolling and bouncing and hit the ground, and he went up and caught it and got crushed. But he saved Tennessee 20 yards on that. Boo Carter, fearless, making guys miss, confident. That's what you want in a punt returner. Boo Carter's got that. Special teams, excuse me, A+++++. Coaching overall, I thought it was fine. I didn't have anything glaring. I'll give it a B overall in this football game. We can always go back and nitpick, but I wish there was some more creativity and play calling in the red zone for sure. But overall, I thought it was fine. There was nothing glaring in this football game, so I'll give it a B. Appreciate you guys as always. Went a little overboard, as I usually do. Thank you guys so much. Get in those questions, those comments, those concerns for your mailbag show that's coming up tomorrow right here on Locked On Vols. Appreciate you guys. Tell your friends, subscribe to the channel. Doesn't take long at all. Completely free. It helps this show grow, and it helps your boy get paid. Talk to you guys tomorrow. This is Locked On Vols.